Hi everybody, how you doing? Today was the Grand Prix d'Horloge de Genève. In other words, the GPHG, the Academy Awards of watches. And I want to talk today about the ones that won, the ones that I chose, and sort of to me what were the highs and not so highs of the results of it. Uh, so let's take a look at it. First of all, if you're not familiar with how the watches are awarded prizes, it's basically they have sort of three steps. The first step is that there's over 1,000, about 1,000 people who belong to the academy. I'm one of them, so it'll tell you something about the criteria. They have watchmakers, movement makers, and all kinds of people involved in the watch business. Are people like me who are involved as collectors and also with the rig manufacturers. We've had two watches in the Grand Prix. We didn't go anywhere with it. Next year we'll try it again. Okay, so first of all, they have the first round, and these 1,000 people vote. And at the end of that, they have what are called the nominated watches. These are the top six watches of each category. And then they have another round where 1,000 voters, the Academy members, vote. And that's the final vote. And we don't know how that turns out until they have the awards. And then they have the judges committee. So I imagine, I guess they would take the top vote getters and go from there. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, but that's what they're supposed to do. Um, One thing I found out, in a way, it's really a good thing. You can never tell who's going to win what. Anyway, so let's get started. Take a look at the ones who won, the ones that I thought might win, and go from there. The first one, first category is a ladies category, and the one that won here is a Gerald Genta called the Gentissima Orsus Fire Opal. The winners are on the upper right, and the ones that I chose are on the lower left. The one that I liked the best was the Tiffany and Company Bird on a Rock Legacy Tanzanite. Still think I should have won, but that doesn't matter. Okay, moving right along. The ladies' compilation, complication. Here's something that is what I keep looking at is the movement and how the movement is. And sometimes there are just too many good watches, and so I pick one. This time, the winner was the Chopard Imperial Four Seasons. Well deserved. The one I thought might have a shot at it was the Frank Mueller Round Triple Mystery. I thought that was an interesting one, the way the hands went and so forth. No such luck. This next one was time only. Time only is just sort of like wide open for any three-handed watch, which means there are no complications other than timing. It's just a three-hander. Now the one that won is the Daniel Roth. And it was funny because I happen to have on my Daniel Roth retrograde today, and so naturally I was, I found that nice. But the one that I picked was Raul Page's RP2, it's just an incredible watch. But again, they they chose the other one. But the Pages did make the nominations. Most of the ones, almost all of the ones that I picked, did make nominations, but they didn't go much from there. Now, this next one, I picked the right one. This was men's watch, Urban Jurgensen, UJ2 double wheel natural escapement, the double wheel natural escapement. That got me. I just thought, man, this is it, and it won, and I'm very happy to see that. Kari Voutilainen never. This was the first year since he took over Urban Jurgensen that they had a lot of watches in the runnings, and some of them won. Did a good job. Okay, the next category is men's complications. Again, I picked another Urban Jurgensen because I just same reason. But the Beauvais 1822 Recital 31. That's a great watch too. It's like a dream world timer. So I had no problems with that, and yeah, the other Urban Jurgensen just won, so I figured oh, we'll give it to Beauvais this time around. Now, the iconic watch, this is a category that I've never liked. I still don't know why they insist on having this, but, they don't listen to me. So the one that I picked was the Brigade Classique subscription. Now, what could be more iconic than that? That was my thinking. Okay, well, the one that won was Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar. Royal Oak is pretty iconic, I think, so no grumbles on that one. This next one was Tourbillon, and I picked it by Bougaret, the Octo Finissimo Ultra Tourbillon. And basically what they did is that they put a tourbillon in. This is in the tourbillon category too. They put a tourbillon in with this ultra thin watch. It's sort of a cool watch. I figured it has a shot, and it won. This next one is for the mechanical exception. It also was one I picked, and it also won. Everything about this watch is cool. It's just amazing watch. The inside of the tourbillon, there's this little bitty thing with the old Fourdillon going around. Amazing, amazing watch. One of the problems with these really amazing watches are so are their prices. I don't care. I'd love to have a watch like that. Okay, moving right along. You have this next one is chronograph. Now, the one that I went for was the H. Mosey and Company Streamliner Alpine Divers Edition. Driver's Edition, I'm sorry. They're with the Alpine car. I thought, that was a pretty good shot at it. Now, the one that won was Angelus Chronograph Telemetry Yellow Gold. It's a bicompax, which I tend to like. It's also a monopusher on it, and it's a pretty cool watch. It really is. I wanted the Moser to win, but it didn't. But that's the way it goes sometimes. They still made, like I said, any watch that was in the final category was in the nomination, so it's really something to be nominated. The next category, sports. Now this was wide open, and at one time, sports watches used to be ones that you could put in one that was not too expensive and have a good shot at winning. I don't think that's the case anymore. The one that I picked was the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. That's pretty sporty. But the one that won was a Chopard Alpine Eagle 41 SL Cadence 8 HF, high frequency. I'm not crazy about high frequencies, but that is, I got to admit, that's sort of an interesting watch. Now we get to things like jewelry. The one that won was Dior. And I gotta tell you, there's some Dior watches for women that are just fantastic, and they're really good price. So if you want to get something for yourself or for your girlfriend or wife or something, want to get a nice watch, a Dior. This one, probably the one that they have there, is really expensive. But they have other ones that you see come up on big discounts, and they are nice. So they're sort of, now that they won one of these things, they're really going hot. The one I liked was Bulgari. I think they won last year. They always have something with a snake involved, and it's just sort of the head of a snake, and then you got a little watch in there. Okay, this one, arts and crafts. Uh, Kari Voutilainen again, when he's won before in this category, he does some really beautiful work on the dial, and very good watch actually. The one I liked, actually, to tell you the truth, this is what I did. I accidentally rooted for the wrong category of Van Cleef and Arpels, but it was in the jewelry category, so I thought, uh-oh, which one else would I like? And it was Louis Vuitton, Tambour, Bushido, Automata. They got this crazy samurai warrior there. It's a good one. Okay, now here, this is one I really wanted to see Amita win. It's very unique and it's really, really different. It's the Digitrend Open Sapphire. They had put a Soprod movement in. I just thought it's very unique and very different. But the one that won was Mad Editions, and this is called Mad 2 Green. Now, I like the Mad Editions. These are by MB&F, and they're sort of like for the little guy, and that's one thing I like about it. But like I said, I like the Amita better. There's nothing wrong with the Mad D2 Green either. I mean, they're both really good watches, but like I said, I wanted to see Matu Allegre, great guy. Next time maybe. Now this one I felt pretty bad about. Okay, Denison won, and of all of the watches that were in the challenge category, I thought this one had the least chance. It has the gold as PVD, I guess, or whatever it is. It's like not metal and certainly not gold. This is sort of with a '60s look now, with the tiger's eye in the dial, but it's a quartz watch, and I thought, I really wish they wouldn't allow quartz watches. I mean, they could have another category for quartz watches, not for this though. The one I liked and still liked and should have won was Studio Underdog, the O2 series gimlet. Love that watch, and it's got a special kind of dial and in the numbers and indexes, and it looks like it's floating. Really a cool watch, but it didn't even make nominations, but I can't win them all. Okay, this next category are the mechanical clocks. I voted for the Mickey Electra, mainly because he's one of the AHCI guys, one of the independent watchmaker guys, and I like those. However, I got to say the L'Epée 1839 is this amazing looking sort of I don't know, steampunk looking sort of Jules Verne invention thing. It's done by a company called Albatross L'Epée 1839 and MB&F, which has great guys. Now, the winner, the big time winner of Aiguille or the Grand Prize, went to, much to my surprise, the Breguet Classic subscription. Now this is important in ways that for me are significant. Breguet, as I have complained ad nauseum, I suppose, they're owned by Swatch, and Swatch was stuffing them with these silicone hairsprings, and I whined and pointed out that, come on, those things, once they're there, you don't have a regulator, none of that stuff. Abraham Breguet, it didn't look like Abraham Breguet stuff. People say, well, if Abraham Breguet were alive today, he'd say, oh, silicone is great to use. He wouldn't say that. He'd say, how come you guys don't get smartwatches? What are you messing with this old technology for? But it won, and here's the thing about this one. First of all, They put in a Navitron hairspring. It's a metal, made of transitional metal. In 2019, they upgraded that hairspring. It's a really very good hairspring, and it goes along with the traditional, and you can regulate it by moving the regulator arm to tighten or loosen the spring to affect the speed of it. So it won. By the way, in the Grand Prix picks, none of the people who were in that picked that one, including me. The one I liked was a Luca Soprana. That won nothing, and to me, that was terrible. They didn't win anything they should have. The movement in this, he took the Derek Pratt Remontoir Egalite. Just an incredible movement, really something. He didn't win, but I thought he should have. The other one, though, the fact that Breguet is now recognizing that people who want real tradition in their watches, they don't want the silicone hairsprings, and they've been taking them out, which is of those. I mean, the other one's fine. The guy buys one watch by Breguet, he's going to wear it every day. Probably better off with a silicone hairspring, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of stuff that real watches have to worry about. Okay, now the final one, these are the special prizes they give out. One's called the Audacity Prize, and it went to this interesting Chinese double. It was like a double tourbillon. It was sort of this is sort of this long watch. Another one, it was called the Horological Revelation Prize, went to Antoine Sukhanov. And it's called the St. Petersburg Easter egg tourbillon clock. The clock is like one of those old blow up punching bags. You hit it and it came back. Well, this has got this thing it doesn't fall over. It's like a schmo. You can hit it and it sort of goes down and pops back up again. But that's not why it won the award. The movement on that is just amazing. It's just a fantastic watch. Now, the final prize was the chronometry prize, which to me is one of the most important prizes. The reason it's the most important prize, but it's talking about chronometry, and this has to do with accuracy. And they gave it to, much to my surprise and delight, really, was to Zenith for their GFJ caliber 135. And what that is, they had, I think it was called an Elite 135 at one time, one of the older calibers they had, and they fixed it up and brought it back in this 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour, beautiful time. If a watch has that lower of a frequency, it's not as forgiving as a watch with, up to 4 hertz, where, a lot of things can happen to that and it'll, be okay. But one of these, this is why so many top watchmakers have these lower frequencies. And then you flip it over on the back, and you can, you can see the movement. You can see a lot better when it's down to, especially 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour. Okay, now the final thing. This is for those of you who are in the Grand Prix picks. I only got 3 right out of the whole thing. I did much better on the nominations, but for naming correct ones, I only got 3. One other guy I think got 4 right, and then the winner got 5 right, and that was Edward Simonov. He got 5 right. Nobody picked the Grand Prix. I mean, nobody had the right one for the Grand Prix. I'm not too surprised, because it was the Breguet one-arm subscription watch, which I can see the reasons why it won the Grand Prix, but the Aiguille d'Or, the golden hand, anyway. Well, listen, that's my take on the 2025 Grand Prix d'Horloge de Genève. Uh, and I'd really like to hear your opinions and your thoughts on it, and why either you thought what you thought was great and what you thought was not so great. Opportunity to subscribe if you'd like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collecting.